two, three. Oh, right. Well, hopefully that we don't have any technical issues this time around. I was starting to record, and then all of a sudden my game just decided to randomly crash on me in the middle of starting recording. So, apologies for that very abrupt change of plans and everything. So, like I said before, I was really interrupted by my game crashing. We're just going to do some side quests, some intervention quests, and talk about them, and some of the lore in the Final Fantasy series in general, and the implications. So, let's get started.
What now?
Talk to her.
Whose soul will you touch?
Alright. Done most of these quests already, so let's see. This one's gonna be interesting because this one is the Ephrata. Actually, what we can do is let's do this one, because I think this is golems. Now, golems, at least, yep.
Without purpose must be destroyed.
And so, basically, in Final Fantasy IX, which is where these golems, these black mages, as it were.
Huh? What do you mean some of the black mages have stopped moving? How could that happen? I thought you were all training together the whole night.
So,
Mirage came to the training grounds threatening to destroy us all?
Vivi comes from Final Fantasy VIII, or Final Fantasy IX. And in the purpose, and it's borrowing about that, and basically it's about their, the black mages in Final Fantasy IX were created as weapons of war, and that's it. And they were supposed to be soulless golems, etc., etc.
Golems without purpose must be destroyed.
Tell me, are you the Mirage hunting my friends? What do you want? Just leave us alone!
Tools do not have a choice. Tools that are no longer useful must be destroyed.
So much for trying to talk this one out. Come on! We fight!
And Vivi is also one of those characters that in this
These golems need to
iteration
be taught a lesson. Vivi's not a tool. He's a
that
person.
is
He's our friend.
one of the characters that actually has a voice and a will, which is unusual in
You'll make a wonderful addition to my mansion. Diamond dust!
the black mages pretty much exclusively are they just kind of go along, and they have a will, but they don't really talk in World of Final Fantasy, just like a lot of people don't talk in Final Fantasy IX, which is again where it was borrowed from. This golem fight let a couple characters level up, pause on the screen. So essentially what ends up happening is what I let some of the cinematics play out is it's in Final Fantasy IX, the black mages, some of them become aware and they go and they seek refuge in this little sanctuary called the Black Mage Village. Now, again, because they're created as artificial constructs, at some point they only have a very, very limited lifespan. Like, I think Vivi altogether, by the end, it's not really super established, but I mean, Vivi doesn't live very long past the events of Final Fantasy IX. So, in the end, the epilogue, Vivi is actually talking to the cast, and so on, and basically about his being happy with meeting everybody and their journey together, and before everything kind of wraps up. And so, and Vivi dies, of course, before everything's able to conclude, because he's reached his natural expiration date. And so this is obviously a lot more lighthearted. They don't really indicate that black mages are going to just die randomly and stuff, because again, this is a rated E for everyone. This is not rated teen like it was in the original Final Fantasy IX. So, and golems, of course, are based on the mythology from
that golem
Jewish mythology about golems and everything else. And again, they're and when I say mythology, I don't mean it in a mocking way. I'm just stating it in there's lots of stories that I actually have a lot of respect for, that have lots of
we don't need a purpose
that are
to live. Life
technically
is the purpose.
You've come a long way, Vivi.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure
Right.
Edgar was
Come on,
listened
let's
to.
go. We all have a job to do. It's up to you and me
And
to keep Figaro's people
the stories, just which are collectively known as mythos or mythology.
Another day.
That again, not a disparaging term. Sometimes, unfortunately, there is that normal connotation, but I have a ton of respect for mythology. I'm just trying to use when I'm talking about lore and stories and stuff, trying to use a common vocabulary that's also
Welcome
respectful.
to where fantasy melds
there
with
we
reality.
go.
What
Sorry,
now?
I'm still a little nervous
Whose soul will you touch?
talking and sharing my thoughts and stuff. Okay. Okay, so we talked about the golems, which again, it's a relatively easy golem head memento, and that's how you get some of the like really advanced evolutions. And so next is, I think we'll go on this one. I don't remember exactly what this fight's gonna be, but we'll get there, and then I will do a little bit of a talk along. Let's see. Could really use a break. And of course, in the original Source game, which they don't talk about obviously because he doesn't have those memories, but in the original game, Squall actually becomes the leader kind of reluctantly, and he becomes the commander in the fight against in the fight against the Sorceress Ultimacia. And I believe this is a Mimiculus. Yep. I may fill the world with flowers. Yep. Which again is a reference to. Did you play me? Alright. Yep. Yep. Yeah, and Shulk is
It's a
one
nice
of those.
thought. Maybe we can help him plant those flowers.
We could scatter the seeds from Balam Garden.
We could.
Alright. Oh, okay. So yeah, this is a Myrmecolis, which I'm not 100% sure what the lore reference was. I know it has to do with different cat type creatures and stuff, but there are actually quite a few of these that are just random fights. But if this fight goes on too long, there's actually what's called a Doom mechanic, which is about as bad as it sounds. It's completely irreversible, and it has a timer, and basically you have to conclude that particular fight either before it ends, or if you don't, that particular character dies. And these Myrmecolises can actually do it on both characters. And again, there's no way to reverse it, which it depends on each Final Fantasy how that works, but I don't think we're going to get to that mechanic. I think we're going to kill it well before it actually gets there. But as I was talking up, see, Doom mechanic. So I had 30 seconds basically, and then once the fight ends, it'll just automatically
Good job.
erase, and that's the only way to clear it. Either die or beat the fight before it's over. And cut it out is the only thing I could. Yeah, so in the League of S, in this one is almost all of the major heroes. So it's like Squall, it's
Good evening.
it's
What
Cloud, it's most
Whose
of
soul
them.
will you touch?
Let's see. Bioseed, that's actually very helpful. Let's see. And then this one, I believe, is it's either the Kraken or some variation
Touche.
there. So this is Shentoto from Final Fantasy XI, actually the only character from Final Fantasy XI who actually makes an appearance in World of Final Fantasy. Much like she does in Dissidia, actually. Only character. Which makes sense because she becomes one of the heroes of light, etc., etc. I didn't really play them as much because by the time I got to the MMO scene, that was more Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, and then who invited the man thing? So she is a character that has been, unfortunately, as the Quadra Queen, has been picked on by so many humans that she has this weird comical aversion to male characters, and then she actually is disturbing, disturbs her that she's attracted to she's attracted to Lan, and Lan is such a goofball that Lan's kind of clueless.
Now, come on now, Rain. You do realize that I have like 0 chance of beating Dr. Shentoto.
then you shouldn't have promised. Well, I agree, you're probably doomed. But let's go and see what she has to say.
So, yeah, we're just gonna get through a few random encounters quick.
No kid gloves for you.
This won't take long.
So, and then, of course, each area is themed around certain Mirage types. So, these are all water types, but they're really easy because they're...
Well, that ought to do it.
Oh, great!
Their average, I believe, like level 45 to level 50, give or take. And my characters are averaging in the high 80s. Which, again, some of the end game dungeons want you to be like level 90 or higher, but that in the past required a ton of grinding to get to that point, so I didn't necessarily do that, and that won't be part of this necessarily, because we are playing on the
I'm
normal
ready when you
difficulty.
are.
Oh, please, piece of cake.
And we're not gonna do any capturing mirages either, because we don't have those mirages. But I have Shiva, which is the actual Shiva from not her species, but this is actually Shiva.
Predictable.
The Pleiad that you can capture in a battle in the Colosseum. And basically have her image come in and help out. And so, and she has some of the better abilities when you have those original characters to World of Final Fantasy. They have some of the better additions than their counterparts that you transmog and evolve from their species brothers and sisters.
Don't let your guard down just because we're stronger.
Sorry, but this might not end well for you.
Yeah, I can actually probably change out some of this battle music. I really like this Celeste's theme, but it is kind of, it has a little bit of that gothic feel to it. So let's do that after this fight's actually done.
Victory!
Excuse me. There. Get some water. There we go. Okay. So we'll actually change that quick. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. And we're gonna go into yet another unbeatable fight. Yeah, and Shintoto is kind of one of those chaotic neutral characters where she's, at least in Dissidia and...
All right, Lon! You can do this!
Why do I have to do it?
Yeah, again, this is not really a winnable fight, because she's gonna just keep multi-classing magic, and I'm barely gonna be able to make a dent in her. which is fine, because this is actually one of many, many fights that you fight against Shantotto. You can't beat her. Let her. I'm just gonna let her finish me off.
No way.
Poison. The party has fallen.
Did you think I could be beaten by anyone so hopelessly frail? Such madness is beyond the pale.
Wait, just hold on for a second, Dr. Shantotto. Lon and I are both really sorry.
Very sorry. Forgive us. We'll do anything you want, so please.
Anything? Then fine. I can pardon you this time.
So, Doctor, why were you trying to do the Quachaqueenan again?
Say I'm inclined to open the door at the heart of the shrine, but therein lies the hitch. You see, only Miss Birdbrain can access that particular niche. But if she happens to buy the farm, the door's defenses become, shall we say, easy to disarm.
Yeah, we'll have a chat with her and convince her to open the door voluntarily.
Achoo!
If you really want to. I love that interchange. Yep. Yeah, the interaction between good times. So, and this quest is the only way to get the secret area unlocked.
No.
For some of the
anything.
Is
the only way to get that achievement for exploring every single...
Why did I tell her I would do anything?
At least this should be easier than facing the dock. But I'd hate to think of what she'll do to us if we lose.
So basically we're done for either way. Yay for us!
So optimistic. So, yeah. And... I mean, this fight's very easy. It's against just a normal Stunchos. But this one is the only way to unlock this secret area that every dungeon has a particular secret area that has a secret boss, and this intervention quest is the only way to get access to it again later on in the game, so that you can get the treasure, etc., etc. sweet. I leveled Lon up to level 83. That was very helpful. For whatever reason, Lon's like really far behind Rain, which is weird because I use both. You have to use.
Well, that was easy.
Rain! Get away from that thing! What?
What's going on?
The last queen warned me about this, but I refuse to believe her. When it expires, that monster will trigger a huge explosion with blastostrous consequences.
Dude, what? Now you tell us?
When you say
I love it.
huge, do you mean? Yes. The last time that Kraken cracker boomed, the destruction it wrought split the entire continent in two.
Dude, it what?
Be quiet!
Huh?
Are you ready? Then tremble and quake. See the spell I've taken time to make. Now hold on to your hats. And take that! It seems my new magic is a great success. Dispel-ageddon. And its canceling effects.
What just happened?
I might have known you pups would struggle so much to keep up. Once I learned that Tentacle Terror's life was getting close to ending, I devised a spell to contain the blast the creature's death was portending. I knew, before it breathed its last, I'd have to unleash my new magic! My Dispel-Ageddon. It pacified this nightmare pelagic.
So your new magic, it wasn't meant for causing explosions?
Oh, I tend to shun magic that has already been done.
Fair enough.
Moving is for total losers. But I'll be able to stay in Besaid now, thanks to you feeble-minded assistant diffusers.
Oh, Shentoto. Yeah, she's definitely quite the character.
You know, she wears me out.
Me too. Tell me, just what is the meaning of all this?
I guess everything worked out.
Acho?
Yeah, you know, that thing was set to blow whether we open the door or not.
It's true. She wasn't exactly nice about it, but it looks like Dr. Shantoto saved us all.
And that's great news for you. The Sunken Temple will be safe for good now.
Benevolent organism. I wouldn't say totally.
Kind of.
Oh, Lon? Oh, yeah. Hey, the strangers should go away. Oh, good times. There's the door. Alright, let's open a couple of these chests now that we've gotten. Yeah. Now that we've explored this secret area, now that we've gotten it unlocked. Again, the only way to do that is here, then there's some fancy chests. Resist blindness. Kiraga Mirror Jewel, which is very helpful. Water resistance ++. Again, very helpful. Some of the better abilities in the game that you can mod to the twins that you normally wouldn't be able to, unless you had that particular Mirage in your stack. So it's kind of nice that way. Excuse me.
Shall we get...
What now? Whose soul will you touch?
Alright, so... let's do this one. I don't remember which one this is, so we will explore it together. There's Ferris.
Edgar.
What?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So Edgar's one of those characters who consistently is a little bit of a womanizer. Yeah. You'll have my word, it'll be properly avenged. Let's see,
Where are we?
We call this site the Eye of the Desert. It's where Figaro Castle originally stood. It's in places like this and Big Bridge that you might, if you're especially lucky, see mirages that no one else has.
You mean like brand new ones?
Right. They appear in no legend or book, not even in Tome Town's treasure trove of volumes. What's more, some have said that the Eye of the Desert could be connected to other worlds.
What does it mean when worlds are connected? Something happens?
Well, it means... I knew it would just be a matter of time before it found its way back. Phoebe, look out!
Oh, yeah, Omega.
I hate being right.
I hate being right. Oh, good times.
Whoa, dude! Legendary doesn't even begin to describe it.
Not at all. I wonder what's going on in the world these things came from.
So, this one...
I think we may have to look into that someday.
So, this is referencing Omega. Now, Omega is a little bit different than Omega Weapon and Ultima Weapon and Super Ultima Weapon, but Omega is the epitome of the super bosses. Now, he's relatively a pushover compared to his compared to the other Omegas in the Final Fantasy universe. But this is a variant of a machine called Omega. Now, when they say, when they're talking about, well, I wonder what's going on in the world that this came from. Well, basically, the super bosses are supposed to be from ancient civilizations or locked away, or so on and so forth. So, like, Ozma in Final Fantasy IX is literally an otherworldly creature, kind of similar to the Eidolons, but not exactly. That's as best as we can determine. There are some lore entries, but I haven't discovered all of them about like with this universe, about how that differs from our world and everything. It's supposed to be a very far, far future after the apocalypse and stuff. Kind of like how Terry Brooks' Shannara series is. I don't really know, again, without having read all of without having collected every single apocrypha. I don't necessarily know that. So, but that's the best I can determine, is that these were weapons from an ancient war, well before Enter Crow / Alexander became the creators of these type of worlds, these storybook worlds like Grimoire and everything like that are called A-worlds. And there's the antithesis of that, which are the X9 Knights, which, in some of my older streams, I, encountered Brandulas and Sigwardus and Pelennor, and those are examples of named X9 Knights.
Need something?
which are the most powerful of their kind,
touch?
because they have names and they have wills of their own. Normally they just are servants, and they manage to, cross over into the boundary, but again, they don't have the will to manifest as their own identity. Let's see. I don't remember what the actual Mirage is, but they're talking about the Silver-Haired Swordsman, which is the storyline behind Final Fantasy VII. Cloud is the one-winged angel that is the other part of Sephiroth. He's an imperfect clone, etc., etc. But in being an imperfect clone, he's the most perfect way to complete Sephiroth, and they're always at odds. Sephiroth is the evil, chaotic version, and Cloud is the hero, etc., etc., and was able to make his own fate, etc. And it makes sense that they're both really stoic, both Lightning and Cloud, and that actually, the outfit that she's in is from, the outfit that she's wearing is from the sequel games, not from Final Fantasy 13. So Final Fantasy 13 had two sequels, 13-2 and 13-3, and by that point she becomes this deliverer, the savior for the god Benevelza. And of course, it's a little bit more complicated. And good old Terra. Oh, yep. I believe this is either Iron Muscles or Titan. Yeah, this is not a thing I don't cherish, which is a line actually from Advent Children, directly taken from the Advent Children.
Who's this silver-haired guy Cloud's after?
From the sound of it, he passes in and out of this world without belonging to it. Maybe he's an anti-champion.
An ant champion?
No, he'd step on the ants and humans alike, just to see the world sink a little further into chaos.
There are people like that out there?
Maybe you'll bump into him one day in some deal. Oops, forget I said that. At any rate, he doesn't seem to be in this world now, so I wouldn't worry about him if I were you.
So, there is actually... They break the fourth wall quite a bit. So, there is actually a free... What do I need to do to capture him?
I've got this.
Can actually show off some of the capture mechanics. Inflict defense down. Do I have that? Not sure. Evasion down. Blizaja. Flare. Blizzard. Oh, maybe not. I might not. I thought I did, but... Mega Potion. Oh yeah, I gotta resort that eventually. Huh. Okay. Well, might not be capturing that one. Because I don't think I have the right ability for this fight. Because I guess I didn't realize I still had a spare prism to capture him. And this is the most powerful version of Watershed. So, and that only is applicable when you get certain stacks. So, like for example, I have an Ice Bat who's Ice Elemental version of the vampire species, and because I have Shiva, who is literally the literal embodiment of device, that's the only way you get those really, really advanced spells, which is unusual compared to a lot of the other Final Fantasy games. You usually inherit them through other means. Like you either draw them, or you learn them through quests, or whatever. But again, this is it being a spin-off, etc., etc. Alright. Cool. Got an X potion. I completely forgot about that it was going to be an iron muscle. I might have known you two would have tried butting in. You can practice your cherishing on the way home. Oh, good times. Yep.
Hello.
Some of these skits
What
are
now?
hilarious. Almost all of them
Whose soul
are,
will
but
you
yeah.
touch?
Let's see. For Friends of Vengeance. Okay. So, with this one, Balam Garden is basically, they have where Eden is the heart, it was the heart of an Eidolon. And again, in Final Fantasy VIII, it's just a garden that floats and flies eventually, and that's a big plot point. And it's obviously they compartmentalized it a little bit, but they yeah, they're talking about, you know, Big Bridge, I think the garden is very much like him, is one just big ride. Must be sleeping. Yeah, so Eden of Balam. Eden. Yep. And of course, some of these have pathways and everything, so...
So, there are places like this where the Cogna can just break through?
I'm no expert. But if the Cogna have already taken over a world that happens to be a close neighbor of Grimoire's, heck, it's a scary thing to consider.
You'll make a wonderful addition to my
This
mansion.
is Shiva's
Diamond
special ability that is only available if you get her particular, the one from World of Final Fantasy, as opposed to just her evolution. Very, very helpful though. But I do like the idea where they're talking about like multiverse and everything like that, which again, that's a theory that has been brought up a lot in Final Fantasy, that it's not necessarily separate stories. I mean, it is separate stories, but they all are actually connected in imperceptible ways. There's not necessarily like a chronological connection and stuff, but there is a connection that exists. Again, that's a theory. A lot of lore people in the Final Fantasy community can agree and disagree about that. There's some hints in Final Fantasy 15 with some of the crossovers and stuff that is actually the case, especially with like Gilgamesh, that Gilgamesh is actually one of those that travels around worlds, and there's actually hints in World of Final Fantasy that is actually the case, because this is the big unifying one that connects all of the Final Fantasy, pretty much all the Final Fantasy characters. I think there's a couple of exceptions, like Final Fantasy 3 doesn't really have a presence. Final Fantasy 2, same thing. Final Fantasy 1 only has like 2 characters. It's a pretty expansive cast of characters, though, from almost every single Final Fantasy.
Melds with reality.
I mean,
What
again,
now?
not the true sequels. So, 13.2 and 13.3 aren't going to have any characters that were exclusive to them. Those aren't going to have an appearance. But, so like Pain and Riku does make an appearance, but that's because Riku was from Final Fantasy X original, the base Final Fantasy X. Same thing with Yuna. Same thing with Tidus. I refuse to call him Tidus, even though in the voice acting they call him Tidus. It doesn't sound right. So, okay. Next is this one is going to be 2 fights, and it's actually going to be the escaped version of the Shiva tribe. And it's the male version of the Shivas, because most of the Shiva tribe is evil, must perish. What do you mean evil?
You should. I am the cool face of justice. When the forces of evil appear, this Shiva strikes!
Huh? What you talking about?
Can you not see it? That mirage with you has been corrupted. They've tainted her. The Cogna have tainted her.
Think you got the wrong idea there, pal.
Alas, I am all too aware of the grief you feel. But I swear to you, her end will be quick and painless.
You're gonna have to go through me.
Good times.
What?
You must be the male Shiva who busted out of the Nether Nebula.
Really? How can you talk about justice when the only way for you to come to this world was by hurting someone?
There's only one villain here, and that is you. Sorry, but we're the good guys.
Poppycock. You simply cannot make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
Don't you know the omelet thing is like a classic one-liner for villains? You need a good lesson.
Yup. I figured it was gonna not work, but...
My code freezes everything in sight! Freeze!
Freeze! That's right. So, these are particularly dangerous versions of the tribe that normally don't, are kept under containment. And that's basically what the major threat is, but you don't get to actually face them until much, much later on, because they're high-level fights. So, I believe this fight normally is like level 60 or something like that, which is pretty high level for this game. I think the actual fight against the final boss is like level 70 or something like that usually. But it's something like that. It's fairly high level, so that's why I'm just kind of doing some of these side quests and some of these lore longs and stuff, getting these unlocked so that you can face them in the Coliseum and
no trouble at all.
Predictable.
yeah. So. I got this ice spell stone.
How?
The hero
is
supposed to
prevail.
prevail.
I don't know what your deal is, bro, but don't worry about her. I have special Lassie powers, and they give her all the bells and whistles. Huh? Perhaps I was wrong. She's not insidious enough to be Cogna.
Fine. I shall make it up to you. Name your foe, and I will assist you in a single battle. Earlier, you mentioned a butt to kick. Well, lead the way.
I love this. Yep.
Hang on a sec. Snow's been beating this thing up regularly, right? Because that would explain why it seems to be weaker than before.
Good. Then today, we can finally settle the score.
Right. Remember to exploit its weaknesses, and be ready for a long fight, okay?
Gotta remember what those actually are.
Take this!
Pretty sure he's weak.
I've got this.
Yep. Yep, that's what I thought.
You'll make a wonderful addition to my mantle. Diamond Dust!
28,000. Yep.
That was a good fight.
Victory!
Yeah, that fight was... Prepare for a long fight, yeah. And then just destroy it fairly easily. Yep.
This is it! Together! Lizaga! Chill, you villain! All right! Success! Although, our victory will be short-lived if it thaws.
Oh, that's a good point. So what do we do? Just cross our fingers?
You never did finish what you started.
Yep.
Zuntetskin! You know, for my first crack at it, that was pretty good.
Zoons! Now that's what I call just desserts!
Yep.
Hey, sis!
I thought we'd been over this already. I'm
I'm
not
your sister.
Am I glad to see you, sis?
What did I just finish saying?
Oh, tell you what, sis. Why don't you stop by the village and see Sarah? It's been forever, right?
Would you just... I seriously must be talking to a wall.
Yeah, that's actually a reference to the main plot line of Final Fantasy 13. And actually, Sarah is going to be one of those characters that we won't get to with this stream.
Hello.
Because you gotta actually beat
What
the
now?
game in order to get to them. But
Whose soul will you touch?
it is definitely a character that is, let's see, that is definitely usable later on. So, well, I have 3 more. And let's do this one. And this one is actually the Conquer Radia. Now, Radia in where they don't necessarily have.
Stay away! Just leave me alone!
I thought so.
That's funny. So in Final Fantasy IV, she actually, her intrinsic memory is that her town got blown up and fire and set on fire. And so, and of course, they have like the core essence of a character, and Rydia remembers in Grimoire just her intrinsic fear of fire, but again, not the details of it. Yep. And then Ifrita is a particularly nasty version of the she's a particularly nasty version of the Ifrit, where Ifrit's kind, I guess you could say, and Ifrita is pretty much pure evil and chaos and wants to eat souls.
Hold up. What happened to the wimps I was gonna destroy?
So it's you. You're the Ifrit that escaped from the nebula.
Wait, what's the deal here? Have you two been hunting me down? Your souls. I can't put my finger on it, but... Ooh, they're making my mouth water.
You're kidding. Are you saying you feed on people's souls?
There's nothing better than a soul on the coals, releasing all its flavor as it flickers out.
That is the grossest thing I've ever heard. Hey, Rain, tell me we're gonna teach her a good lesson.
Yeah. We have to do something about her, that's for sure.
Give me a break. You don't think you can actually take me? Oh, that is way too good. Well, whatever. It's time to chow down.
Yep. So I was just gonna let that play out because that's the lore of the discussion.
Here goes.
You'll make a wonderful addition to my mantle. Diamond Dust!
This fight, initially, the first time I took this fight on, I had to retry this fight like 3, 4, 5 times. But now that I'm significantly more powerful, and I have the ability, almost all the abilities unlocked that I want to, it makes it much easier.
What? No way.
Where they all come from? Rydia? I guess overcoming your fear of fire is going to be a project. Yep.
Good evening.
Okay.
What now?
So...
whose soul will you touch?
Yep. Get her memento. Now, we're going to fight Bismarck. Now, Bismarck is he's from mythology, but he's also, he shows up in pretty much every single Final Fantasy. Like, he showed up in Final Fantasy 9, he shows up in Final Fantasy 10, he definitely shows up in Final Fantasy 15. You can actually encounter him on the waves and everything. And actually, there's a really, really cool primal fight against Bismarck in Final Fantasy 14 that I actually forgot quite a bit about, and it's basically flying fish and stuff. And this is, of course, their cute little date thing where they're just getting to the point of getting to know each other again. These are the two major characters of Final Fantasy X, so they have some of those fun relationship stuff. I knew you were taking this seriously.
Oh, hey.
Yep. And then the whistle. The whistle is actually something that they teach each other, and kind of so that they don't lose track of each other, and that's a major point in the Final Fantasy X and X-2, and then eventually there's supposed to be a X-3 that's eventually going to be coming. Maybe. At least there's lots of rumors about that, but...
Dude, it brought its own water?
I suppose. That's just how this Mirage rolls. Make sure you have the doc's medicine at the ready, just in case we get sucked in, okay?
Okie dokie.
Let's see. Good old Bismarck. 64,000. Oh, that's right, he is going to be in Splint. Alright, well, let's hit him with the dagger. Oh, that's right. Bismarck. This Bismarck counters against pretty much every physical attack. I forgot about that.
Not done yet! He's weak against. Hit him with some holy.
Okay.
One of my most useful abilities. So close. You're so close. Okay. So, we're just finishing up the fight against Bismarck.
Looks like we did it, right? Hello? Tidus? Huh? Where did he go? Hey, Tidus! Tidus! No. He was right here. Wait, if I whistle for him, maybe he'll come back like nothing happened. I just can't do it. Tidus.
Ow. That last shot there, I'll tell you, it really packed a punch. Yuna! You alright? Hey!
Silly. Of course I'm alright. Don't scare me like that.
Sorry about that. So, you want to head back?
Sure. Let's go.
Yup. It's pretty cute.
Welcome to where fantasy melds with reality. What
okay,
now?
So one more.
Whose soul will you touch?
And then this one is going to be the actual final fight against Ultros in Tometown. And it's actually really cool, and I'm actually going to let this one play a little bit more because
with all of these records here,
it's a reference to
actually
the
what guy?
Impeccable timing, Cloud.
It's actually a
this book has
reference
given me a
to-
wonderful idea, but I'll need your help.
to this opera in
What?
Final
An
Fantasy
opera?
VI.
Not interested. Now, not so fast. Celeste, what did you say to me the other day? Because I can recall you lamenting how gloomy the town has been since that whole vampire ordeal.
I might have said something like that. But how does an opera figure in?
With their little hearts broken like that, they may never enjoy a book again.
Sid, it's not that tragic.
It's not? Take two. With their little hearts broken like that, they'll never find the courage to fend off all the Cogna.
Oh, well, I suppose you're right about that.
Do you see? This opera is perfect for unslumping the town spirits.
You don't expect us to.
Yes. It features a mysterious hero and a beautiful heroine. Who could be better for the roles? Back in my younger years, I used to be head over heads for this libretto.
I'm not some opera floozy. I refuse to embarrass myself on stage.
Which she actually
But
does
you can count me out, too. Oh, don't say that. In fact, you can't say that
yeah,
because
she
you're
does
already
in
on the
Final
prize.
Fantasy VI.
So as the saying goes, break a leg.
I ought to break your leg for doing that.
Okay, get rehearsing.
What? Hold it.
So, he knows I'm not doing this.
Oh, good old Cloud.
Ha 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 ha.
Is that her? I think Celeste is serious. Is she gonna do it?
Oh, my hero. What do you want? A mirage?
What's going on?
Cloud! This freak fell out of nowhere. Watch it.
Ta-da! It's so quiet in here, I could hear an octopus drop.
Oh,
You can
good old
hardly blame me
Ultros.
for wanting to take over the place and save it for my retirement. I just flopped in to see who was making all the noise. Nobody arpeggios in my new Cartaggio. Unless she happens to be a deliciously pretty lady.
Who sent you? Was it the...
I'm here to domesticate, not venerate. Oh, yep.
Not you again.
Who, me? Oh, I'm just an innocent passerby. Really?
Oh, got it. Well, in that case...
No one just passes through here, dummy!
Huh? Oh, let's do this!
Come on!
I love that. You know, he's such a dork.
You'll make a wonderful addition to my mantle. Diamond dust!
Ow! Ouch! Dun, 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 ah!
That wasn't very nice. Thanks for watching.
Ow! Ouch!
Alright, we are almost done with this fight. Then we can slap him down for good, and then we can unlock him in the Coliseum. That'll be a different stream, of course, but with some of these, but I will have almost been done with every single side quest that is possible to do at this point in the game. Very close to finishing up the main storyline. There's like one major arc that I still gotta do before we do the final boss fight, Redux. Which again, there will be lots of lore about them and all that fun stuff. Go away, Altos. Okay, there we go. But don't freeze. Freezing is bad. Okay. Alright, well, thanks again for watching. I'm gonna tune it, take a break, and get back to the last part. So, thanks again.